My name is Barbara Marthell. I'm born here in Tennessee, from Davidson County. Grew up in Davidson County. My family, both my mother's and father's family, they're both from Wilson County. And I do Civil War enacting. And in the research, I found a relative. He is related to me because he married my first cousin 3 times removed. And that's who I'm going to tell you about. When you eliminate the black Confederate soldier, you've eliminated the history of the South. That's quoted from General Robert E. Lee in 1864. Many Confederate officers, such as Robert E. Lee and Patrick Claiborne, supported officially mustering blacks into the Confederate Army, but the Confederate Congress was reluctant to do so. It is true that almost no blacks were on the muster rolls of the Confederate Army. The Congress did not approve the official participation of blacks in the Army until March 13, 1865. That being said, however, several Southern state militia regiments contained blacks, both slave and freemen. In June 1861, the Tennessee legislature authorized their governor to enlist the service of all male persons of color between the ages of 15 to 50. In his efforts to convince Lincoln to enlist blacks into the Union Army, Frederick Douglass said, "There are, at the present time, many colored men in the Confederate Army, doing duties not only as cooks, servants, laborers, but as real soldiers, having muskets on their shoulders and bullets in their pockets, and ready to shoot down loyal troops and do all that soldiers may do to destroy the federal government." Richard, the son of Isham F. and Sarah Bradshaw Davis, was born in April 1843 on a large farm in the Silver Springs community of Wilson County, Tennessee. He had a dark complexion, dark hair, hazel eyes, and he was 5 feet 10 inches tall. Richard's father owned 3 slave families, one of which was the family of Handy Davis Crudup, born in 1846 to Nancy Davis Crudup. Handy had a rich brown complexion and stature similar to Richard's. They were close companions. Born on the same farm, they had spent many days working, fishing, playing together since early childhood. On May 6, the state legislature adopted the Ordinance of Secession for Tennessee, which was affirmed by popular vote on June 8th. Richard was zealous for duty to Tennessee and the Confederate States Army. He talked of enlisting in the Tennessee militia. Handy had no intentions of being left behind. No one was surprised by their decision. Just about every family in the Silver Springs community and the surrounding community had sons who readily joined them. On May 20th, 1861, they left for Nashville to join the state militia. Richard and Handy were assigned to the 7th Tennessee Infantry Regiment, Company I, the Silver Springs Guards, with Captain Joseph A. Anthony under the command of Colonel Robert H. Hatton. The brigade was mustered into Confederate service in July, entrained, and reached Stanton, Virginia on July 25, 1861. There, with other Tennessee infantry regiments, they formed the Tennessee Brigade, Army of Northern Virginia, under Brigadier General Samuel R. Anderson. On January 4th, 1862, Richard and Handy were among the men of the brigade that went with General Jackson to Bath, Virginia, to destroy the railroad bridge. Richard and Handy fought with the brigade at the Battle of Seven Pines when General Hatton was killed on the 31st of May. Richard was severely wounded in the knee, which left him permanently disabled for field service. Handy went to his aid on the battlefield. Richard was sent to Richmond for recuperation, and Handy accompanied him and helped nurse him back to health. After Richard's recuperation and a furlough for both, they returned to duty. Richard served in the quartermaster department, and Handy assisted until needed as field support. Handy was one of tens of thousands of people of African descent that served and worked in the Confederate Army. Few of them were officially enlisted as soldiers, but they were there nonetheless. They fought with no less commitment than those of enlisted men. Most were slaves, but some were free people of color. Historical papers, military records, pension files, and testimonies tell of the brave and vital contributions they made to the Confederate States Army. They repaired railroads, built fortifications, worked as teamsters, cooks, blacksmiths, musicians, drummers, nurses, color bearers, bodyguards, sharpshooters, and much more. Women of African descent also served the Confederacy, and a few of them received pensions. Handy surrendered with his unit in April 1865. Richard surrendered in Guntersville, Alabama, May 20th, 1865. Although a slave, Handy lived his life with a personal sense of freedom and determination. He defended that sense of self when he joined his young master and friend to protect the rights of the state of Tennessee. He was given his legal freedom February 22nd, 1865, when the people of the state agreed to a referendum to abolish slavery in Tennessee. After the war, Richard and Handy returned to the Davis family farm. Handy married Louisa McFarland, who happens to be my first cousin, 3 times removed, and Richard married Rachel J. Winter. 2 new families shared the personal pride and joy of these brave young men. They worked the family's farm together until Handy purchased his own small farm. As neighbors and friends, each provided for their family and community. Richard T. Davis is buried in Cedar Grove Cemetery in Lebanon, Tennessee, as is General Robert H. Hatton. A statue of General Hatton stands in the Lebanon Square. Handy Davis Crudup is buried in an unmarked grave near Mount Juliet, Tennessee. They, like many others, have passed on, but they are not forgotten because we remember their valor. Thank you.